Hi boys and girls, welcome back to our video homework lessons. We'll be doing majority of chapter 7 in this way, so let's get out our chapter 7 notes packet and get back to our old way of doing homework. Please open up to 7-1, ratios and rates, or it might say rates and ratios, either way. Today we're just going to be focusing on ratios. Tomorrow night's video will finish the notes up with rates. So the entire notes page will not be filled out today, and that's okay. We'll finish it tomorrow. Just go as far as the video goes in your notes. So to begin, we need to talk about, well, what is a ratio? I've already written down the definition for you, but let's go through and read it together. A ratio shows the relationship between two different parts or two different things. So, for example, if I have this bag here, and this bag gets turned and spilled over and outspill these green and yellow balls or marbles. I can say I have 4 green balls and I have 5 yellow marbles or balls. So if there are 4 green and 6 yellow, sorry, 6, not 5, I don't know why I said 5 before, there are 6 yellow, the ratio of green to yellow would be 4 to 6. So again, since I said the word green first, I'm going to put the number that were green in the front part, and then I'm going to have yellow is my second part, so I would put the 6 second. If you notice, I have a colon there in the middle. That's what those 2 dots are. So this is what a ratio is going to look like. It's comparing the number of green to the number of yellow. How do I read a ratio? You might have noticed that I said the word 2 there. To read a ratio, what you're going to do is you're going to read the first number, then you say the word 2 for the colon, and then you read the second number. Again, the colon is those 2 dots you normally see on a clock. So 3:2 would actually be read as 3 to 2. This means for every 3 of something, I would have 2 of something else. Now, how do we actually write ratios? As we just said, I could write 2 with the colon 3, which again, I would just say is 2 to 3, or I could actually use it writing the word 2 in the middle. Or the most common way is that you actually write it like a fraction, where the first number becomes the top number and the second number becomes your denominator. So these are 3 ways that we're going to be writing our ratios. Ratios are going to be very similar to fractions, so we're going to be doing a lot of the same skills we used in our fraction chapter in this chapter as well. Now, let's practice a little bit more about how to write a ratio to have it make more sense to you. You have this chart on your notes packet right now, you'll notice. It has how many people play different kinds of instruments. So what we need to do is we need to write certain ratios of how many people play which instrument. So if we have, and move this out of the way so we could see everything on the chart, if I want to know the number of violins to violas, I need to look at my chart and figure out, well, how many people play violin? 29. And how many people play viola? 12. So if I wanted to write a ratio of those, I would need to make sure that my violin number came first. So violin is 29, so write this with me on your paper. I would write 29, and then I would write a colon, and then I would write the word 12. Again, 29 came first because the word violin came first in my question. Now, let's write this 2 other ways. I could also write this as 29 to 12, or the most popular way is to write 29 as the numerator on top and 12 as the denominator on the bottom. Those all mean the same thing. So that's how I'd write a ratio showing the relationship between the number of violin players to the number of viola players. What I want you guys to do right now is I want you guys to look at the chart, and I want you guys to come up with the number of flutes to clarinets and fill that one in. I'm going to check that answer in class tomorrow. So now you try to write a ratio of flutes to clarinets. You can come back to that later because I'm going to go on and I'm going to show you one more example of trumpets to the total number of instruments. Now I've already gone through the math and figured out that there are 95 total instruments being shown on this chart right now. So what I need to do is I need to do trumpets to the total. Well, when I look on here, only 3 people play the trumpet. So again, I'd write down trumpets first, write this with me. Then I'd write the colon, and the total is 95. So I would write 3:95, which is also written as 3 to 95, and as a fraction of 3 over 95. Those are all the same ratio. Again, you should fill out the one for clarinets. Okay, we need to talk about equivalent ratios before we end this video. Equivalent ratios are going to be ratios that name the same comparison. They're found by multiplying or dividing both terms by the same number. This is exactly identical to equivalent fractions. So what we're going to do is, on your paper, you notice you have some diamonds and some spades. Yours just aren't in color. I'm sorry. I can't print in color, so I have it prettier on my smartboard. We're going to write 3 equivalent ratios to compare the number of diamonds to the number of spades in this pattern. So if I look on here, since it said diamonds first, I need the diamonds to be the first number of my ratio. Well, I have 1, 2, 3 diamonds. So I would write down 3. Spades is the second number in my question, so I'm going to write down the number of spades second in my ratio. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So my ratio would be 3 to 6. I'm going to rewrite that as a fraction because I think we're better at working with fractions though. So I need to find some equivalent ratios. Let's write that ratio down with me right by all the spades and diamonds are. Now it says I can multiply or divide by the same number to find an equivalent ratio. Well, I like to multiply by 2 a lot, so I'm going to do 3 times 2 and 6 times 2 to get an equivalent ratio or an equivalent fraction of 6 over 12. That would be one thing that's going to be an equivalent ratio. However, it says I could also divide them both as well. So if I have 3 over 6, can I also divide top and bottom by the same number as well? I know 3 can go into both of those, so if I divide both of those by 3, I get an equivalent ratio of 1/2. So I have 6 over 12 and I have 1 over 2, which is an equivalent ratio. You can either use the 3 over 6, the 6 over 12, or the 1 over 2, and now I would like you guys to find another equivalent ratio. So tomorrow, come to me showing me another equivalent ratio as well. We'll go over this more in class tomorrow. Hope it made sense. Again, we'll talk about it in class tomorrow, and we have 2 fun activities planned as well. See you Tuesday.